equals.
necessarily. I
Hold on.
disagree with like.
Well,
Sorry, go ahead.
Okay.
10 seconds. But
Yeah.
yet again, we can circumvent this system like everybody does every single day, right? Everybody that operates in the United States, I think, circumvents the monetary system in one form or another every single day. If we were to unite our abilities and stop operating under the control of the central bank, I think then maybe we can find some common ground as far as how our society operates. But because it's so corrupt and it manipulates everybody to still operate in corruption, I, you know,
So
because
with
it's because it's
what
programmed.
what
How do you get out of it?
so I'm assuming you're talking about bartering is the way you circumvent the dollar, right?
It's in portion, yes.
So what you're I mean, I understand the premise and that works in small communities. That does not work on an international scale. It doesn't. There may be examples of it, like we trade oil for chips or whatever. Like you can do stuff like that, but it's all based in a dollar. The value is assessed based off of dollars. This $10 thing is worth $10, and I'll give you three of them for your thing that's worth $30. So it's even when you're bartering, you still have the basis of value in your head, and the basis of value has to be tied to something. So even when you are bartering, we live in the 21st century, not the 1800s, where we don't have as intertangled economies as we do now.
I don't disagree with you on that point. I think that the only thing that I would disagree is the evaluation of value. So
Yeah.
when so and we're probably going to agree most of the time on this. So I'm going to go on about give me about
I'm okay.
120 seconds.
All right.
All right.
When we talk about the value, right, of a person's labor, right, which most socialists come from, or
Yep.
the value of a product, which if we're supplementing circumvention of regulation of our own country and then delegating it to another country, this is where we like our low purchase price, but yet again, we're still pissed off that the quality of the product is still shit.
Yep.
So get rid of regulation. Well, people are like, oh, well, you're going to kill the fucking earth. Not really. You're killing the
Not really.
earth.
Yeah.
You're killing the earth where you can't see it, but yet again, because you want to live in this, well, we control the world and I'm Big Daddy. And if you're not going to trade with me, I'll just send my military in and fuck you over and we'll take all your shit anyway. It's not a cooperation, it's more of a dictatorship, right?
Yeah, I get that.
I don't
I mean
want,
that as is
I don't
human
want,
as is. Go ahead.
well, yeah, I don't want the devaluation of other human existence devalued as I want my current abundance and convenience taken away from me because now I have self accountability. And I think self accountability is never in the equation when we talk about money.
True.
So in order to live in, that's why I'm saying that our currency needs to be devalued, and that if Trump is trying to devalue the currency, then that's going to your point. We just agreed that on a global scale, you have to have a unit of measurement for value, and it has to pretty much correlate across the board that your labor is worth this. It shouldn't. I agree with you that it shouldn't be worth less in another country just because they don't have a military to defend themselves. But that's not how the world works. Unfortunately, it's not. And like you can agree, me, you, Tove Gaming, and Set, that it's a good idea to circumvent the value of things. But try convincing 7.5 billion people that we can't even get people to agree that the Earth is round. Um,
Right?
Well, I would take aeronautical
That's a
aviation
lie.
into that
That's a
argument.
lie. It's flat. We all know it's flat.
Stop. Hold
Well,
on.
hold on,
All right. All right. Hold on.
hold on,
We
hold
can't get people to agree on what a woman is. Okay. Let's not talk about the earth.
Right. Well, I would take into certain observations of replicated science and then bring an argument from there. But according to this debate, as far as the monetary system, we understand that our current currency is not what it is as its representation. We understand that we tax, but then we don't tax enough, and we give tax return. We we we
Yep.
we 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 spend in ridiculous amounts of money on nonsense, and yet again will borrow to spend for this ridiculous nonsense just
While giving tax
because,
return.
well, right, it's the system that we operate is absolutely an illusion. So if you look at
Absolutely.
fractional currency,
That's the hold on. Let me interrupt you. That is the basis behind fiat currency. You're absolutely right. You're like economists have argued this since we even considered, not using the bartering system. That has been the understanding is like I am giving you something that we both believe is worth the value of our labor. We both believe is worth the value of our goods, and that's the reason it works. If you break that illusion, then yeah, you what do you have to go back to? Not everybody can be represent their wealth in goats. Not everybody can represent their wealth in actual things because the amount of storage you would need just to hold your wealth dictates that you'd have to have another form of wealth, which is land. So it
no.
is
Well, but you're. I think that a little bit being, and I'm not trying to go to or be insulting. It's a little disingenuous because everybody every day trades their labor, regardless if it's skilled or unskilled. Their
you trade your
labor,
labor
their
to get
time.
dollars.
Well, not necessarily. The time that you spend in a day, right? What is the
Hmm.
value of an hour to a family man versus a single man versus a mother versus a non-mother, right? So
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
the
I like where
definition
you're
of
going
the
with this.
so the definition of things are not necessarily universal to everybody's interpretation.
Right.
So when we talk about what is the value of someone who's a family man's time versus someone who is just a single individual that hasn't reproduced or anything like that, it becomes conflated when we talk about economics as far as political numbers because you
Hmm.
can't put an evaluation on holding a sick child when you have the opportunity instead of working. So yet again, where is the moral value versus intrinsic value versus economic value? So I think that I don't want this conversation to get disingenuous to say that we're only strictly talking about the hardcore numbers of this evaluation because yet again, most feminists come from the standpoint that a mother at home doesn't get intrinsic return of monetary value for what they return in a household as far as
Right,
their
right.
labor.
But the only way we can measure value is one with our choices, the choice of the mother to give up intrinsic value for moral and time with her kids. That I understand where you're going with this, but we only measure one of them. So you cannot measure opinions because opinions are not based on fact, and that's what that's what a moral value is an opinion. I think that it's worth more than money for me to sit at home. There may be a person out there that disagrees with that. I'm going to go make money, and like when you get into that, I just talked about people can't even agree that the earth is round. You definitely can't agree or have large parts of the population that'll agree on that. The only thing that we can put a value to intrinsically is a currency used to just move the abacus around. So I understand what you're saying, but it doesn't really factor in. It's not disingenuous to say we can't count that because it doesn't matter. You choose to be in the economy or you choose not to be in the economy. That's the decision you get to make. Do you want to be in it
Okay,
or do you?
okay, I agree with that. But yet again, if I choose not to participate in the economy and work the 9 to 5, right? I own my own
Yeah,
business, and then I
yeah,
homeschool my own children. They don't participate in government systems as far as their training and knowledge,
Yeah.
their basis of how they operate from day to day life. They don't have the interactions that are socially negative according to the demographics that are measured today. I
Yeah.
think that we all can make a choice that I don't want to buy GMO food because I'll grow it in my backyard. I'd
Absolutely.
rather take a fine, and I think I've represented it on this platform before, that I've been fined $187 a day because of a noise ordinance because
Oh,
I owned a rooster in my town.
oh my
Now
God.
this accumulation of fines, right, for
Hmm.
participating in this neighborhood or this village, right? I can choose which township or village or
Yep.
city or state I live in, right? Because
Yes.
of the legislation that is in place or the town or city ordinances. But how many people actually read any of that? How many people are just participating just because they were told to? And I'm trying to get past that idea that, well, because we exist, there is these things that I am intrinsically, inherited to. It's kind of ridiculous, right?
So
People don't
unless you can go
10
and conquer.
give me 15 seconds and I'll let you go.
All right.
The thing is that when we talk about our responsibilities and our accountability, they're never brought into these debates. There's always the debate of what somebody else is going to do for them instead of what you're going to do for yourself. I inherently look in the mirror every day of my responsibilities rather than looking outside into the world.
Okay. So to the first point that you made, we're just inherently in this system because we were born into it. We don't live on a planet. This starts getting into space now. We don't live on a planet where there's any um spot in the world that's not owned by somebody else. So if you want to have a different if you don't want to be subjugated to that, then we are a government of the people, by the people, for the people, with the consent of the governed. Now, that people will take that and be like, I didn't consent to that. Well, you consented when you said, I'm going to stay in America. You consented when you said, I'm going to go here. You consented when you made the choice to go do that, or
That's actually
continue to.
not true. That's actually not true.
Okay, what other option do you have?
Because if you were to look at diplomatic immunity as the one example that you can reside in this country and not abide by any laws of this country, would you
But
agree
we're
in
not
that?
we're not all. But diplomatic immunity comes from another country, another sovereignty. You don't have sovereignty in a country. You cannot have individual sovereignty. You can't just say, oh, I'm not going to participate in this. Why? Because honestly, the ground that you're standing on saying that is somebody else's ground, even if you own it.
That's actually not true. Because if you look at whether you're titled as a non-resident alien, a resident alien, a citizen, a foreign diplomat, all of these titles are granted upon the population depending on who's participating upon their knowledge base, right? So if I wanted to be a non-resident alien because I have heritage, because we're a melting pot in another country, I could actually reside in the United States as a non-resident alien. That's actually part of the tax code, and it's also part of U.S. code. So technically, you're really incorrect because there are people out here that renounce their U.S. citizenship, even though they were born here, abide by the alliance to a foreign nation, get a foreign passport, and then run their paperwork unlike a U.S. citizen. And it's advertised
So
online
when
as
you say
sovereign citizen and all that. But yet again,
Oh,
that's
10
that's
that's
seconds,
not real, but
10
that's
seconds,
complete.
10 seconds, 10 seconds. I never said they were sovereign citizens. I use non-resident alien, resident alien, non-citizen, citizen. Go to the U.S. code, and all of those titles are completely acceptable to be in the United States.
Absolutely, but they're as applied to the circumstances. If you're a United States citizen, you don't get to go into a different class when it suits you, and go ahead and try using the sovereign citizenship to any governing entity in which you reside. They'll laugh at you. because
I didn't say
it's
I didn't use the term sovereign citizen for a reason. I don't want us to get disrupted by that language.
yeah.
I used non-resident alien, resident alien,
But
diplomat, and
a non-resident alien is somebody that is from a different country, i.e., another place where they have different rules and different laws, but they are applied in this situation. You are not a non-resident alien if you're born in this country. You are an American citizen.
it depends on. So if you're Amish, right, you don't go by the birth certificate. You use a certificate of live birth, which goes through the family Bible. Yet again, we have to understand how the systems are operating and the language that they use. I encourage everybody to go learn Latin, in which, if you go back through the language of the U.S. Code, most of it's written in Latin. So go back to that, and then start extrapolating through the timeline from when it was originated to now of how that is now applied to the population.
Right, but that it's applied in different ways because again, our the very construct of our country is so that the founding documents can be living, breathing documents and change with the times. Not because it meant one thing at this point, now we've moved the goalposts. No, that is the flexibility in which the country was founded upon, so that later on, when we get 350 million people in the country, you're not going to have people that all want to decide that, you know what, I'm not going to pay taxes because I want to live like the Amish. The Amish have a very long historical precedent of being that way and have been granted that thing. If you want to go join the Amish, you can go join the Amish. But
Well,
that
they're a
doesn't.
sovereign nation, just like if you want to talk about the Moors or anything like that. They're a sovereign nation within the United States, and
Absolutely.
if you think that doesn't exist, it's actually a falsehood. And and I'm not saying that you do. I'm just saying that if people think that you can be a part of a foreign nation in the United States and it's illegal, that's absolutely false.
Right,
It's
but
absolutely
that's not
false.
what I'm
You
saying.
can
That's not what
completely
I'm saying.
operate
Let
as
me
a foreign
clarify.
nation in the United States, depending on the declaration of which titles you choose.
Okay. So that really does not matter in the case that you're making, because even foreign nations, Indian nations, the Amish people, the Mennonites, they all are still subject to United States laws as it applies in their situation. So a Native American, if a Native American goes and is a part of a Native American nation and goes and kills the United States citizen, there's still going to be consequences. Not just, you know what, we don't recognize that, so it's not a crime, and they would lose their nationship immediately if they did that. So there is some
Well,
give and take.
you're using. Oh, hold on, you're using a conquered domestic nationality, right? I would say that we've had proven incidents recently. If you were a part of a foreign nation, let's say it starts with an I, and you commit a sex crime, you are not extradited from said country after. Hold on. Oh, I'm sorry. You are already in custody, and they let you go to a foreign nation. I'm sorry, but you're using the domestic nation in
Again,
native people.
that's
So
what we're talking about.
it's
We are domestic
it,
citizens of this country. We're not in that category. So you can't compare it because we don't apply to that. That's why I said you cannot just say I'm not a United States citizen and I'm going to go use the privileges of resident alien and still try to retain the privileges of a United States citizen. I'm assuming you own firearms. Non-resident
I
aliens aren't allowed to own firearms.
I'm a felon, and
Oh,
no, I do not own firearms. And I'm a felon for because you can see cat me, and the
yeah.
lunatic libertarian is attached to my government name. You can go
Just
look it up.
just
It,
go
it's
ahead and just go ahead and
it
say you lost your firearms in a boating accident.
well, I neither can confirm or deny anything that is in my possession, right? So,
I like that. I like that. That's smart.
I like that.
but
Now,
yet again, I'm a Navy veteran and I've been trained to be silent, so firearms are never going to be my first go-to.
Anyway,
Same
but
here.
my point is,
Right. Anyway,
if you
the
want
thing
to
is
live a
that.
life,
But hold on,
hold on.
I'm trying to address your question. So when I say that if you are born here, right, that doesn't matter when you are that's a descendant of an immigrant, right? You can abide by your First Nation, or you can assimilate to the nation in which you were born in and abide by their systems. And that's all I'm saying is that most Americans don't know how the systems actually operate. And then when they see people operating outside of those systems, they give them stigmas like the sovereign citizen. There's no such thing as a sovereign citizen because you're not doing trade with any nations. That's what makes that ridiculous. But you can be an individual from a foreign nation that renounced your U.S. citizenship to say that you are a part of that nation. And I think that you see a lot of people that are from the Moors and that don't agree with Israel right now that are saying you don't need dual citizenship. You can renounce your citizenship and be full Israelite. Then come to me from that perspective, but don't trade sides and still rely on the money, right?
But that's what people that use that argument, and we're talking we this conversation devolved from money, and that's what I was trying to say this entire time. There is not one person on this planet in this day and age that can live completely outside of the bounds of anybody. So you there you can do all the non-GMO farming you want. You're still going to need equipment. You're not a blacksmith, a woodworker, a metal fabricator, a
I
farmer.
actually am all of the above. I'm actually all of the above.
So did you create the phone that in which you're talking to us on?
No, but I understand the actual technology behind it. And if you want to go through the capacitors and the signal
Okay, so
No,
you're a
paths,
no.
unicorn.
Stop,
that's
stop, stop,
fine.
stop, stop. Just by the fact that you're talking to us right now, I'm going to go ahead and assume that you did not create your own phone to talk to us right now. You must, in
But
this
I
day and
don't.
age.
Hold on. But yet again, what did the FCC do to all radio operators that existed
Thank you.
prior to
I'm glad you brought that
1990?
up. They don't
So,
they own the airwaves because you don't
well, that's what
own
I
like the.
mean. But there are people that do not participate in the regulation of themselves. You do understand that, right? And this should be part of the argument is that there are people that do not allow the state to regulate them. There
Yep.
are people
and
that
that
do that every day.
and when they are found to be in violation of laws passed by the state, i.e. the people, then they are punished for that. It's not.
Not necessarily, because you also have to account for billionaires and billionaires.
Well,
Banks
I'm not
are
talking about I'm not talking about billionaires. Like, try to stay on
They're the
topic for me.
people.
no,
No, they're
no.
the people.
They're the people, and I know because I own a
Yep.
business and it's a standalone person. Technically, I could vote on behalf of the business and then turn around
No,
and vote
you
for myself.
cannot. No, you cannot. A business is an entity. An entity does not have rights, which is
It
why a business
depends
can
on
be
which
gone after.
state you're in.
It depends on which.
You
Yeah, I was getting
gotta
ready to say that.
you gotta read the local legislation, bro. It is not the same
Yeah.
universally across the board.
Because in some states, especially California, businesses count as people, and they get assigned their own electoral vote. Not electoral vote, but what is it? Primary.
Say.
And all right,
Like,
guys, if I could just go ahead and get to the super chat. Shout out to our guy Wesley. He says, shit like this really, really pissed me off. What new law firm are we trying to open here? I would say
Yeah.
stop peeing in your own butt and be American. I have never heard that last one before, but okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
Like it. We're
Okay,
we're doing
so
mental gymnastics. We're doing mental
I,
gymnastics for someone to say they don't like. You're doing mental gymnastics to sit here and try to tell me that I don't understand how the world works, and it doesn't. It really doesn't matter what your interpretation of the Latin in the U.S. code is. It really doesn't. We work in a system in which we go by norms and we go by what's socially acceptable and what's not
okay.
socially acceptable.
No, I don't think we do because it's socially acceptable if you're gang affiliated to go out and kill people. It's not socially acceptable to be politically affiliated and go out and kill people. I'm sorry, but that is not a valid argument. We can
It's
we can
not
go
socially
into what's
acceptable to kill anybody
social.
anyway. No, 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 no,
Yes,
no,
it
no, no.
is.
Since
Yes, it
when has it
is.
been?
Are you
because you're a
kidding
part of the
me?
gang, we just the society just says, you know what, they're a
Yes.
part of the gang. We're not going to prosecute them.
I wouldn't know. What he's saying is it's more under it's more of a oh well, not I don't want to say oh well, but it's more of an expected to be a gang member and go and kill someone than it is to
Just
be
because we
affiliated with a
understand that gangs are
political.
violent, no. Just because
That
we understand that gangs are
I'm
violent does not mean we socially accept it.
no, I'm not saying that it's expected, not accepted. Expected. It's more expected that someone who
But we're
is
talking about
affiliated
socially
with a gang.
Oh
acceptable,
no,
not expectable.
it's absolutely socially acceptable to be a gang member, not snitch on your homies, and be a murderer.
Yeah,
That is absolutely socially acceptable in today's day and age
it
in
is.
2026.
It's so
No,
socially acceptable they make rap music about how they kill their ops.
Yep.
okay. I mean, so now I don't care that the fabric of society is degrading. We still do have laws and we still do prosecute those people
No,
and use
we
those to.
counteracted what you said, socially acceptable. Now you're changing the goalpost. No, I exactly said socially
I don't.
acceptable is it's promoted through an entity socially accepted, which is music, to say I'm a gang member, I'm not snitching on my homies, and I like to kill my enemies. That is absolutely socially acceptable. It's been socially acceptable since the mid '90s, and I'm sorry, but I grew up in that
But
genre
talking
after
about
the crack
something and
era.
actually doing things are
Same.
You
treated
can hear his
differently.
hood coming out, man. Go ahead, talk your shit.
No, stop. You guys are fucking muddying the argument for no reason. You can talk about killing
We
people.
can
You
go
have
back to the monetary system, and I really would like to get back to the operation of central banking.
like, I mean, if every single
Yeah.
thing is going to be twisted and saying, oh, you know, it's socially acceptable to kill people. No, the fuck it's not. People can talk about it all day long. That's a socially
It's
acceptable.
absolutely socially acceptable because even if you're a gang member or not even a gang member, you're just somebody that went to prison, whether it be in California where racial demographics are very prominent and you have to be protected. You can say that, oh, yeah, well, you know, I had to go shank somebody. Well, that's acceptable socially. So, which demographic do you want to talk about? And I don't even want to get into it because it devolves away from central banking. I do want to get back to central banking.
I just like what I'm saying is if you're going to try to pick apart every argument with completely nuanced and out of the realm of the conversation ideas, then you can never have a conversation with somebody that like that's how the conversation is going to devolve. It doesn't matter what you think is socially acceptable. There is a standard of conduct for people, and
According to which group? Hold on. According to which group? Because
according to
now
the people of the
you
country
hold
that
on.
we
No, no, no,
live
no,
in.
no, no, no,
No,
no,
no, no. You
no.
asked me a question. Let me answer it. You asked me a
No, hold
question.
on a second. Hold on. Because there are labels, titles, and categories acceptable amongst many groups. So if you're a street dude, a YN, your acceptable accountability is
We're not
absolutely
talking
different
about
than
the
some.
street groups.
Yes,
We're
you
talking about the
are. Yes,
country.
you are.
No, I'm not. You can't tell me what I'm talking about. So, okay, so you asked me a question. Let me answer it, and stop going off on this tangent about stupid shit. It's not socially acceptable, as according to the laws that we have passed as a nation, i.e., all of society in this nation have passed these laws. I don't care if you want to break away from the nation. You don't get to do that. You don't get to break away from societal norms. When there's a gangster up on trial for murdering somebody, we don't find it socially acceptable. Oh, they were in a gang, so let's acquit them. That's not socially acceptable. That doesn't that's completely ridiculous to try to split hairs on that topic just to technically be right.
But all right, then. I guess that we can go ahead and move on from that conversation. And if we want to return to centralized banking, and now if I can just remember the prompt, what was it? Now, was it
Wait.
centralized banking? It's failed,
Can we
bad?
take a quick break real quick? I sent you a PDF on the situation that happened with Don Lemon, like the actual court file. You want to take a look at it? Buddy's getting charged. He getting big boy time.
Yep.
Who, Don?
Don Lemon getting
Yes.
big boy time. They
All
gave
right,
him
I'll
2
look over.
felonies.
All
They gave
right,
him
I'll look.
2.
Well, actually, I do have a video lined up, but I'll probably play it tomorrow.
I mean,
starts getting around that
I
time.
want to. That's a perfect good example of that. It is socially acceptable for Don Lemon's circle to go into a church, but it's not socially acceptable as a nation, and that's why we have laws in place. And if there's a discrepancy, we prosecute people. If you obviously
Not,
someone that did something thought it was okay to do it, that doesn't you by going down that logic, you basically excuse every crime because everybody found it socially acceptable when they did it. Or
but
otherwise they
hold
wouldn't have
on.
done it.
There is not universal justice to all criminals, according
Yep.
to the criminal code. So I don't want to even hear that argument, and I'm sorry, but I don't. If you want to do conduct to the criminal code for the precedence of everything that is actually laid out in it, we can go step for step in the criminal code. I have no problem. But yet again, as a felon from the state of Wisconsin, if you look at the Wisconsin state legislature, okay, and you look up the definition of a firearm, right, which I am no longer supposed to legally possess, there is no legal definition. You can go to
There
Cornwell
is a
Law,
federal
and
one. There's a federal
no,
definition.
I didn't say federal. There is a state
Every
definition because the
and the
state is
supremacy
not.
clause that it
Hold
says
on a second. You like to
Jesus Christ.
interrupt people a lot. No, you like to interrupt people a lot in the middle of their thought.
You're
When I'm
making
telling,
invalid points. I'm not gonna.
I
That's
am
ridiculous.
telling you that the state of Wisconsin does not have a definition for a firearm. They have removed it from their legislation. So if you want to go look it up, please do. If you don't, then more power to you. The thing is that when we talk about state versus federal, they are absolutely separate. Not everything is a federal case. Not everything is a county case. Not every it may be just a township or ordinance violation of a fucking deal that's in what you want to participate in by just living there. The thing is that you don't have to participate in everything, and you shouldn't force anybody by the rule of a gun too. And that's where my libertarianism comes in. Is like you can point a gun at me, that's fine, but go look at my charges. I tell all the cops to go fuck themselves. So if anybody in the uniform wants to show up, it's cool. But yet
I mean,
again, it's different when you meet a motherfucker that oh yeah, I'm from the hood. I'm from some shit that you don't want to see. I'm from the United States Navy that was trained in not all this woke shit. So yet again, it depends on the individual and the response of that individual. Yet again, I'm not going to blame one side or the other because there are choices being made. A lot of the shit that's being talked about in the media now is because choices were made, but yet again, everybody's like, well, those choices
so
were predetermined because it's a law, or it's predetermined
what the
because, yeah,
fuck
I
are you?
want to be woke.
Okay, are you done? I don't want to interrupt you again, but you seem to monologue when someone doesn't push back on you. So when when there's no law on the state books, it defaults to what the federal law is. So if there's no law defining what a firearm is, that doesn't mean you're allowed to own firearms because they haven't defined it. It is federally illegal for felons to be in possession of firearms. So if the state doesn't want to handle it and it actually becomes a problem, then the federal government will step in. And you can say all day long, oh, the state's separate from the federal government, until the federal government wants to fucking step in. Like the, even there was pushback on against Texas when they wanted to remove suppressors for Texas made suppressors against the NFA. The federal government still tried to step in. It was deemed to be unconstitutional that they stepped in, and that's why that precedent's been there. But
Yeah, but
this
as a
idea,
felon from Wisconsin, I can still go to Texas and go put a gun in my holster if I wanted to as an open carry Second Amendment state. That's the thing, is that when you want to bring
until a
up,
cop pulls up on you and
so hold on. What I get from this argument right now is that you want the Fed to be Big Daddy, right? You don't want the states to actually make their own decisions according to their own demographics
It's
of
already
people.
been hashed out. This argument that you're trying to come up with has already been hashed out 250 years
When?
ago.
Okay, so
250 years ago.
okay, so what would they call it? Were they the Federalists? Were they the Constitutionalists? Which ones are you talking about? Because I've already done my research on all of this, bro. I've read the free papers of Thomas Paine. So I don't think you want to really get into this because they were all about being the individual and personal responsibility. That was the key point to all of them. Then the generalization was put into place. And Andrew Jackson was a person that shot out I don't know how many fucking people during duels because they wanted to challenge him. So I don't want to really get into what could happen. The thing is that I'm not a person that comes from a position that I care about the policy enforcer coming to my door. You can go check the record. I don't give a shit. They can come to my door all they want.
I mean,
Yet
if that's
again,
something,
I
if you
understand.
decide that you don't want
Hold
to follow
on.
the law, then you have to deal
I'm
with the
not
consequences.
participating. Hold on. But the law is what? The law is what? So, oh well, it's under federal and state statute that you can't murder somebody. How many people break that law? How many people
And
break
they
the
get
law of
punished
holding?
for it. Again, there's consequences to
No,
your
they
actions.
don't. How many open cases are there?
Just because someone
How
doesn't know
many?
who did it doesn't mean they didn't get. They're
Get
not
the fuck
looking
out
for
of
it.
here, bro. I'm sorry, but there are people that do not participate in the system. Absolutely know who did some shit, and they saying shit.
That doesn't fucking
Bro,
mean
Not saying
anything.
shit.
I mean, hold on
They're
now.
not
Let's say like that. You're not a
participating, homie.
cartel, bro. Hold on. Who are we talking about here? Not your average American citizen now.
Bro,
Oh,
and you are the
sir.
exception
I
to the
jaywalked
rule.
last
You
Tuesday.
are the reason we have laws. Because no one wants to
Oh,
fucking
I'm the
listen to
reason I
anybody.
have laws.
The people that
I
have
don't
that
have to
opinion,
We
listen
need
to
a
you
break.
because I'm a free human being, bro. I don't have to listen to your law. If somebody goes out and fuck and rapes my sister, do you think I'm gonna listen to a law about executing some vengeance on that? No, my God dictates the vengeance on that shit, not your fucking law. I'm sorry, homie, that shit don't work.
okay. So
I
you want to
think we
live
need to
you
agree
want
to
to live in the
disagree on
days of the
this one.
Magna Carta where we just fucking be barbarians. Cool.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because remember what Mike Tyson said. There's a lot of people that got a lot to say until they get hit in their shit. There's a lot of people got a lot to
That's
say until they get hit in their shit.
No, he
Mike
stood
Tyson
on
never
that.
said it. He said everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face.
He
So
stood on
Yeah,
if
they
that.
you're
got a lot of shit to say and they plan until they get hit in their shit. So you got a plan, right? You're gonna do something. You're gonna execute this, that, and the other. But yet again, somebody's got better skill sets than you. Somebody got better fucking equipment than you.
so we
That
just live
has
in
been the
we live
whole
in the world where
operation of
might
the
makes right.
military ever since day one. So I don't know. I don't even understand why you don't understand that people don't operate in these systems, and that's why we have laws because they don't want to operate in these systems. That's
So
why
they
they
should be
circumvent them every fucking day, bro. But yet again, somebody's going to dictate where my medicine comes from, right? But yet again, pharmaceutical companies kill how many Americans every fucking year? Yet again, there's no accountability there. Like, I'm sorry, but your arguments are a little obtuse when it comes to what happens to everyday people. Yet again, if you want to talk about people that circumvent these systems, they're everyday Americans because they don't want to fuck around and participate in them. So the
so
law
you're
will find another way. And that
so
happens
you're of the
every day,
opinion that it's
homie.
not illegal unless
I'm
you get
sure
caught. Got it.
it's not
Cool.
illegal unless you get caught. It's not.
God damn.
It doesn't say any
Oh.
person who gets caught doing this. It says any person who does X, Y, and Z is guilty of X, Y, and
And
Z.
how much shit is he? You know what's illegal? Go check your state statute. It might be illegal for your girl to be giving you sodomy by giving you a blowjob. I'm sorry, but go check it. You might be in a Christian state.
You
Oh,
don't. I
damn.
mean, cool. Like
Well,
what?
Oh,
gotta have
I'm
the
sorry. You was in the military. The Uniform Code of Military Justice says that if you commit sodomy, that you are up to 6 months to a year in the brig. That's any sodomy. That is putting
Yes.
it in your girl's
Trust
butt,
me, I know
in
what the
her mouth,
UCMJ
or
says.
anywhere else. Okay then. Okay then. But yet again, it's illegal. It's illegal until you get caught, right?
Wait, I
That's what
can't put
you're.
it in her
That's
butt.
I'm. That's Bro,
I
that's
mean,
the opinion that you're taking. I'm taking. Maybe we should have some fucking ethics
You
and
can
morals about
actually
ourselves,
lose rank if a girl tells you, "Oh
bro.
well, I sucked his dick." Like both people can go to fucking the brig and lose rank. Like it's literally still
Are you
enforceable
done?
under
Are
the
you
Uniform
done?
Code of
Are
Military.
you done?
No,
Are
I'm
you
trying
done?
to get you to understand
You're not
that
going to get me to understand that we
your
should be
thought.
barbarians. You're not going to get me to understand
What
that.
is barbarian about being responsible for your own self and your own being?
Maybe if you're a part of something fucking bigger than yourself, maybe you should stop being so fucking selfish and saying, "Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
the king
now I'm
of my
selfish
fucking
because
domain."
I want my peoples to be prosperous.
Who is
But
your
yet again,
peoples beside
if
you?
my peoples is my family, homie, that's the whole demographic you disregard. And I'm supposed to be just about the community. It's not supposed to be about
I
the
didn't
people
say
that
it'd be
I
about the
actually
community,
created.
bro. So every right and privilege should be afforded to you, but nothing should be afforded to anybody else. Got it.
all right, he said he
Wait, was that an actual drink or is that juice?
Oh yeah, because somebody said, "Oh, his dude sounds like
That
a
looks good.
drunk," and then we got Chase coming in here that says, "Lunatic, that
All right,
makes you an
I need to try that.
anarchist and doesn't
He's an
change what you're
anarchist. He's not a
saying.
libertarian. He's
It
an
is
anarchist.
irrelevant." So wait, I mean, libertarian. Do you think you kind of hold any anarchist views a bit, like
Absolutely does.
Well, what's anarchist? Self-responsibility is supposed to be an anarchist ideal, right?
Well,
Self-education is supposed to be an
Self-responsibility is
anarchist.
an ideal amongst many
well, you
civilizations.
kind
Come
of were
on,
preaching
man.
lawlessness.
That's what you're
Well,
doing.
what's lawlessness? What's lawlessness?
Anarchy.
Somebody.
Well,
What is lawlessness? If somebody is coming to violate your home or steal your stuff or what product you
that's
produce, right?
operating in
And
self-defense. You're right, but
well,
you're
hold
out
on,
there
but
There's
that's
laws
because,
still
that cover
within
that.
the law, right? But what
of course,
creates the law?
it's
I
our
mean,
community,
if a
our
person
government.
is going to try and enforce their will against somebody else, right? The law that's already been pre-written says that, oh, well, it depends on what state you're in.
All right, hold on now.
Maybe we can do.
Let me hold on. Let me ask this then. So, if you were in a smaller community and they had their laws, would you abide by it, or are you only doing this because of the sheer number of the government?
No, I live in a small community. My community is 2,300. They
Okay,
gave.
so
I said
then you abide by community
they
laws,
gave
right?
me a fine. They gave me a fine for having a rooster. Am I abiding by their laws? No, they're fining me because I'm not abiding by their laws.
No. You are abiding by their laws because you're paying the fine.
I didn't pay a fucking fine,
Damn,
asshole.
that's what
Do
you
you
said.
want to see the fucking total?
Okay, I
Like,
think
I
we
don't
need
give
to
a
kind
fuck
of
about
Okay,
the
let's
prioritize.
total
take a
of their
chill.
We get
fines. They
it.
can
We
go
get
fuck
it.
Hey,
You're a
hey,
themselves.
Now,
Set, hit a
lunatic
media break.
libertarian. Now, don't you kind of see where people will call you an anarchist since you don't abide by any laws, even the ones
Well,
within
the
your own
thing is
community?
that what laws make sense. Stopping at the stop signs makes sense. But if my hens are getting attacked by the neighbor's dog, I think I want my rooster to be out to fuck up that dog if they're attacking my hens, right? And that's not any cop going to be like, oh, well, we saw a dog. It was loose. We immediately responded to make sure that that dog made sure that your hens
So
survived. What
you're
are we
picking and
talking
choosing
about?
which laws you
You're
seem
picking and
that you see
No,
choosing.
are
it's
petty.
what
All
can
right.
they enforce and what they can't. What, are they going to enforce another individual taking the life of another individual? I don't think
Yeah.
they stopped that. How many have they stopped?
Bro, come on now. They stop murderers every day. Like, of
Just
course, there's
the
people
just
case
the
go
simple
cold, but it's
fact.
not like, but just because they get away, don't mean that, oh yeah, murder's legal now. It's all good. It's socially acceptable.
Hey man, King Vaughn was a
Yeah,
very sociable murderer that
yes,
was
but let's
acceptable
be
socially.
honest though. He even did his time, and the only reason he got so lucky is because, well, a witness went missing. Doesn't mean that it was socially acceptable. It means that King Von had pull. I mean, what the mafia was doing back in the 30s wasn't socially acceptable, but they had pull. So you're pretty much saying that might is
No,
right
it
and
was
that's the law.
socially no. Hold on, no. It wasn't
It was
socially
not
acceptable
socially
on the
acceptable.
outside. It
No,
was
no.
socially acceptable in the community because everybody participated. You don't fuck with them.
No.
You
You don't
don't
fuck
get
with
to
them.
No, what you're saying is
hold
might
on,
is right
hold
because
on.
that's
You
what
don't
they
get to
had. The reason
dilate
why
the
people didn't hold
community.
them accountable is because they had might in their hood. So what you're saying is might
Stop.
makes right, which means you can't make any argument about what Americans do to other countries because might is right.
Yeah, that's true. We got the might. We got the most out of any of them.
But yet again, it's the reason that we have the might is according to the programming that we put into the population, and that's through government institution. Yet again, having a hood that has power, right, where the police can't even come down the street, right? They fuck around, they find out that they're fucking with the wrong neighborhood, right? The thing is that comes from the community. It doesn't come from anything else. It's still
But that's why we need
manipulated
the
in a
federal
certain
So you
way
law,
want
to
because
where
we would
everybody to be a
no,
fucking
it's
hood.
people
still
would be at the
community.
mercy of
It's
these
just
people.
manipulated a fucked up way. It's still the community came together, says the police ain't coming in here. It's just thought of in a fucked up fashion.
I mean,
Fuck the
That's
people in the
it.
community that are being oppressed because you fucking decided without them that you were going to do something. Yeah, fuck
According
them.
to who though? According to
I
who
mean,
though?
bro, unless
Is
you're
it the
about to put a
demographics
Batman
of
in
that
every hood,
community?
like, I don't know, unless you're about to put a Batman in every hood, it's a bit unreasonable.
The thing is that why does every hood have to be policed? Is because you're eliminated from commerce because the pharmaceutical companies have the absolute
Yes,
dictatorship on trade. You don't
This
have
guy.
free markets.
This guy.
yes,
You
but that
have
hold
access.
on now. But
But
that
hold on,
doesn't
the government says I want to open a barber shop. I can't have it in my house. That's a
all
residential.
right.
I got to have it in this property. But yet again, now I got to have a license. Oh shit! Now I got to have insurance. Now I got to be bonded. Now I got to do this.
But
Congratulations. That's what comes with a fucking country, my dude. That's what comes with people because there's people like you that say, you know what?
Yep, and everybody
I'm
agreed
not gonna
upon it.
I'm not gonna follow that rule that says, you have to fucking stick your clippers into Barbasol so that you don't give people fucking lice. I'm not gonna follow that because I don't think that makes
and it's
sense.
and the degeneracy of the hygiene of the American population is all the way back to 1890.
whoa, it doesn't mean it's right. Whoa, dog, come on now.
Fucking hell, dude.
I like showers.
Golly.